You're walking down a quiet street at dusk. The air is still, the world around you hushed in amber light, but you feel followed. You glance back. No one. Yet the sensation remains. It's not the presence of someone behind you, but something within you. Something that walks when you walk, breathes when you breathe, waits when you try to forget it. What if that thing is you? Not the you that smiles in photographs or shakes hands in meetings. Not the one who knows which mask to wear in which moment. But the you that dreams of violence, envy, lust, rage. The you that whispers unspeakable thoughts in the quiet of your mind. The you you've buried in politeness, productivity, and performance. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the rejected self, the forgotten twin, the secret truth we dare not look at. But here's the paradox. What you repress doesn't disappear. It waits, and in time, it governs you from the dark. Could it be that everything you're ashamed of, everything you've denied is shaping your choices more than your conscious self? Could your darkness be more authentic than the self you present to the world? You have learned to fear your shadow. Society has taught you to silence it. But what if that fear is a lie? What if the very part of you you've tried hardest to suppress holds the key to your freedom? Let's go deeper. We live in a culture obsessed with light, positivity, productivity, perfection. From childhood, you're rewarded for being good, for coloring inside the lines of acceptable behavior. You learn to smile when you're angry, nod when you're confused, and perform when you're in pain. But all the while, something unspoken builds beneath the surface, something exiled, yet alive. That exiled part is your shadow. Carl Jung didn't invent the concept of darkness within the human psyche. He gave it form. He argued that the shadow is made up of everything you reject in yourself: aggression, jealousy, lust, fear, laziness, even brilliance if it threatens your belonging. It is not inherently evil, it is simply not allowed. And so it gets buried, not destroyed, not erased, just hidden. And what's hidden begins to act unconsciously. As Jung wrote, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. This is the hidden problem. Your denied self is not idle. It seeps through the cracks, through addiction, projection, anxiety, depression, self-sabotage. It wears your face in moments of crisis. It chooses your lovers. It starts your fights. It ruins your peace. Philosophers like Nietzsche warned of this repression. He believed that morality, as constructed by society, was a weapon used to shame power, desire, and instinct. He called for the embrace of one's full nature, even the uncomfortable parts, as the path to becoming what he termed the Übermensch, the fully realized individual. Schopenhauer took it further, suggesting that human will, irrational, unconscious, and blind, drives much of what we do, regardless of what we believe. And Jean-Paul Sartre, the existentialist, argued that human beings are condemned to freedom, that we lie to ourselves just to avoid the terrifying responsibility of being authentic. Each thinker, in their own way, pointed to the same terrifying truth. You are not who you think you are, at least not fully. Your conscious identity is curated. It's what fits in public. But your shadow is what lurks in private, and until you face it, you will never act from freedom, only from compulsion. This is not a flaw in you. It's a system-wide amnesia, reinforced by everything from religion to school to social media. You were taught to curate a self, not confront one. And so the shadow grows not as a monster, but as a stranger inside your skin. But what happens when that stranger takes control? You walk through your days believing you're in control. You plan, you choose, you post. You smile at the right times, say the right things, and check off the right boxes. But beneath that carefully managed performance, something else is moving. Quietly, invisibly. It nudges your hand, reroutes your words, and guides your gaze toward things you'd rather not name. You don't notice it, but your shadow is choosing for you. When you sabotage the very thing you claim to want, when you chase emotionally unavailable partners, destroy promising opportunities, explode in moments you swore you'd be calm, it is not random. It is your repressed self revolting. Psychologists call this unconscious expression. The mind, like nature, abhors suppression. What's buried returns, disguised as reaction, defense, impulse. Like a pressure valve without release, your shadow builds until it breaks through your mask, shocking you with a version of yourself you barely recognize. The consequences ripple far beyond the self. Entire societies, too, cast shadows. Cultures deny their histories. Governments erase their atrocities. And communities vilify the very instincts they are built on: competition, dominance, fear of the other. What cannot be acknowledged collectively becomes projected outward onto scapegoats, enemies, or entire groups. This is why Jung warned that the greatest danger to humanity is not external. It is the individual's unwillingness to face their own shadow. For what we refuse to face internally, we externalize, and eventually we justify violence to eliminate the mirror. Even the brain plays a part. Neuroscience shows that the default mode network, the part of the brain active during self-reflection, is also deeply engaged when we lie to ourselves. Self-deception is not a bug, it's a survival mechanism. The ego defends its image at all costs, even if it means imprisoning the truth. Cognitive dissonance becomes a way of life. You believe you are kind, yet snap at your partner. You believe you're humble, yet secretly crave superiority. You think you're free, yet your fears make every choice for you. You are haunted by emotions you don't understand, and behaviors you pretend not to notice. You ask, "Why do I keep doing this?" As if you were not the one doing it. The real danger is not that your shadow is violent or wicked, it's that it is unseen, and in its invisibility it rules you, until you turn and face it. But how does one confront what they've spent a lifetime denying? There is a way, but it is not safe. It is a rebellion, and it begins now. To rebel against the shadow is not to destroy it. It is to turn toward it. And in that turning, everything you thought you were begins to unravel. But understand this first. You have been trained, rewarded, and reinforced your entire life not to look there. Your rebellion is not against society or family or even God. It is against your own illusion. The illusion that you are only what you show, that you are good because you suppress the bad, that silence is virtue and discomfort is failure. Breaking free begins not with strength but with honesty. Radical, searing, terrifying honesty. This means sitting with the urge to control and asking why. It means noticing the flare of envy and naming it instead of disguising it as judgment. It means admitting when you want to hurt, manipulate, seduce, escape, destroy. Not to act on it blindly, but to understand where it comes from. This is what Jung called shadow work, a confrontation with the repressed parts of the psyche, not to condemn them but to integrate them. Integration is the key. You are not meant to be pure. You are meant to be whole. Counterintuitively, the more you acknowledge your darkness, the less it controls you. The more you accept your capacity for rage, the less it erupts unconsciously. The more you face your desires, the less they distort your decisions from the shadows. This is how the shadow transforms from enemy to ally, from chaos to compass. Throughout history, those who broke free followed this same path. Friedrich Nietzsche descended into madness, but in his writing, he dared to confront the death of God, the illusion of morality, and the raw will to power that governs man. Carl Jung confronted his inner demons so deeply, he called it his confrontation with the unconscious, and nearly lost his mind. But from that came his deepest insights. Even the mystics understood this. In Tibetan Buddhism, the practice of Chod involves imagining yourself being devoured by demons, not to escape them, but to realize they were always you. The fear is the teacher. The shadow is the doorway. You will not reclaim your life by resisting what's inside you. You will reclaim it by owning it. So ask yourself, what part of you have you made an enemy? What emotion have you refused to feel? What truth have you buried so deep you forgot it was even yours? This is not about becoming better. It's about becoming real. And once you do, something irreversible happens. You stop being a puppet, and you start becoming something far more dangerous, a conscious being. But there's one final truth, and it changes everything. Let's step into it. You've looked into the abyss and felt it look back. You've peeled away the polite layers of self and touched something raw, trembling, and ancient beneath. You've walked through the shadow, and you're still here. But here is where everything shifts. The final truth is not that the shadow is dangerous. The final truth is that you created it, not because you were weak, but because you were taught to be small. From the moment you were born, the world began whispering what parts of you were acceptable: crying too loud, shame, wanting too much, greed, being too angry, dangerous, too curious, rebellious. Bit by bit, you began to edit yourself, not to thrive, but to survive. And the parts you locked away, they didn't die. They became your shadow. But here's the paradox. The shadow is not your enemy. It is your mirror. It shows you what you had to abandon to fit in. It holds the power you disowned to be safe. Your anger hides your boundaries. Your envy hides your unlived potential. Your darkness hides your deepest light. You are not broken. You are buried. And the shadow, it has been carrying your unlived life, waiting for you to come back for it. This is the final realization. You are not here to escape the darkness. You are here to integrate it and transcend through it. This is what the alchemists meant when they spoke of turning lead into gold. It is the journey from fragmentation to fullness, not the light versus the dark, but the light through the dark. In the myths, the hero doesn't slay the dragon. He becomes it. He merges with the beast and rises as something new. So now you stand at the edge, not of madness, but of authenticity. You can continue living as a curated version of yourself, forever haunted by the truth you refuse to see. Or you can step into the fire of your own becoming. You can reclaim every part of yourself you were told to hide. You can stop running and start remembering. The truth they don't tell you about shadow work is that it's not about healing. It's about integration. It's about power. It's about wholeness. And once you are whole, no one can control you again, not your past, not your pain, not even your fear. The shadow is no longer your prison. It is your portal. And now, you know the way through.